Have you ever felt true terror? Have you ever seen your own friend being alive right in front of your eyes? Probably not, but this is exactly what happened in Bangladesh. And tonight I'm going to tell you the exact horrifying story of that cursed hostel. The story begins with the new semester of a college. The new students are filling up the college hostel, and among them were Asif, Rizvi and Kabir. 3 of them shared the same room, and as time passed, they became really good friends. Okay, so let me tell you about their personalities and characters for the good experience you might have. So Kabir and Rizvi were kind of same because both of them liked adventures and scary things, paranormal experience. They were into those things. But Asif, he was kind of scared, like he doesn't like ghosts or other stuff. He's kind of scared of the invisible things, paranormal activities. So one night, 3 of them were hanging out as friends and were talking about lots of stuff. Just like that, they started to talk about ghosts and stuff, and they were really having fun. Except Asif, he was kind of scared because he's already scared of the paranormal things. Suddenly Kabir said, "Do you guys know our college hostel has a haunted place of its own?" Rizvi and Asif looked at him with curiosity and said, "What do you mean?" Kabir continued, "They said if anyone enters the second floor, they never return, and if they do, they lose their sanity forever." Rizvi got curious and said, "That sounds fun. Wanna go there?" Kabir was also excited to go there, but Asif refused. He begged them not to even think about it. But deep inside, Rizvi and Kabir already decided to go there, and that was the biggest mistake of their life. They decided to wait till the summer break because that time there won't be many students around and they would be able to sneak in without anybody noticing. Finally, the night came. It was 11 p.m. The hostel was almost empty. They left their room and headed for the stairways to the second floor. When they arrived, they saw an iron gate was placed there and it was locked. Clearly, they didn't want anyone to pass through that door. But 3 of them climbed it and jumped to the other side. Red threads were tied across the railings, paper with Arabic writings and scriptures placed on the wall and on the handle. Asif was trembling in fear and said, "We shouldn't be here, guys." It was too dark there, so they turned on the flash of their cell phone and kept climbing it. The moment they stepped on the second floor, the air felt so heavy, and they felt an immense pressure. It was like they were being commanded to move forward. They couldn't stop even if they wanted to. They kept walking and finally arrived at the end of the corridor. And they felt the pressure was lifted like the silence before a storm. They saw a closed door with a big lock hanging on it, and it was wrapped in red threads. Many Arabic scriptures were placed on the door. They felt something was wrong, and Rizvi said, "Let's go back, guys. We shouldn't be here. It's kind of creepy." Kabir also said, "Yeah, this place is creepy. We should leave." But Asif wasn't moving. He stood froze, mumbling something. Suddenly he screamed and ran toward the door like he wanted to break it. But the moment he touched the door, it seemed like he got some kind of shock and he was thrown back. He hit his head with the wall and he was bleeding. But Asif stood up again and looked at Kabir with his blood-red eyes and said, "Open the door, open the door, open the door." Kabir got scared after seeing his bloody face and red eyes. He said, "What happened, Hasib? Why are you acting like this?" But Rizvi noticed something was off. Like it can't be Hasib. He is a scaredy cat. At a time like this, he would be crying rather than acting like this. It was almost like something took over his body. Like Hasib got possessed by something. All of a sudden, Hasib just slapped Kabir, and he slapped so hard that Kabir fell on the ground. Seeing that, Rizvi shouted at Hasib and asked, "Why did you do that, Hasib?" Now staring at Rizvi with hollow eyes, Hasib repeated over and over, "Open it, open it, open it." Then Hasib collapsed. Rizvi rushed to help him, but he was unconscious. And he pushed Kabir, but he was also unconscious. Now Rizvi decided that he would carry them and get out of this place. He was carrying Hasib, but at that moment Kabir stood up. Rizvi felt relieved and said, "Thank God you're awake. Help me carry him." But Kabir's voice was dark and monstrous. "Shut up, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten for centuries." Rizvi instantly realized that this is not Kabir. Something took over his body as well. Kabir or that thing kicked Rizvi away and grabbed his neck. He looked at Rizvi and ordered him to open the door. If he doesn't, then nobody will leave this place alive. Rizvi knew that if he opens it, then something horrible is going to come out, and many people might face the consequences. But he had no choice. He had to open the door in order to save his friends. He was trying to break the door and the lock, but he couldn't. Then he heard some weird noise coming from behind. It was like someone was eating something. Rizvi looked behind and saw something that nobody would want to see. It left a scar on his heart forever. He saw that thing opened Hasib's chest with its claw, and the bloods are coming out, and that thing in Kabir's body was drinking those blood and licking his bloody skin like it hadn't been eaten for centuries. Rizvi's world shattered as he watched Kabir devouring his own friend's body, drinking his blood, chewing his organs. That thing looked at Rizvi with an evil on his face with blood all over it. He took an organ and asked Rizvi if he wanted some. Rizvi threw up. He realized that thing won't let anyone go. He has to survive on his own. He saw a glass window a little far. He ran toward the window and shattered it. He jumped through it and fell on the ground from the second floor. After falling, Rizvi screamed loudly. The hostel guard heard the scream and rushed over there. Rizvi was broken and bleeding. He whispered, "Please save my friends there on the second floor." Then Rizvi passed out. The guard was trembling like he knew something. Then he immediately called some people to take Rizvi to the hospital, and he immediately rushed over to the nearby mosque to tell the Imam what happened. He told Imam everything that Rizvi told him, that they went to the second floor and Rizvi jumped off and his friends are still there. The Imam seemed to be very worried. He immediately rushed over there with the guard. Imam and the guard arrived there and saw a small crowd. Then the Imam said, "Nobody will enter the second floor. Only I and the guard will go there. Even if you hear us screaming, do not dare to go there." When the guard and the Imam entered the second floor, they saw Kabir still eating his friend's body like a monster. The Imam stood strong and said, Leave that body, Kalas, and return to where you came from. That thing looked at Imam slowly and said with his dark and monstrous voice, "So you know me. You are his son, aren't you?" The Imam said, "Yeah, and I know very well who you are. So leave that body right now." That thing in Kabir's body rushed toward the Imam, grinding like a monster, but the Imam recited verses from the Holy Quran. Kabir screamed, collapsing in agony. The guard grabbed Kabir's body tightly, but he felt like he was restraining a wild monster. It was too strong. Then the Imam recited Ayatul Kursi and blowed on Kabir's body. If you guys don't know what Ayatul Kursi is, it's a powerful verse from the Holy Quran. So now you know. Slowly Kabir lost consciousness. The Imam said, "We need to leave this place immediately." He carried Kabir's and the leftover Hasib's corpse and left that place. The Imam sealed it properly again. Days later, Rizvi woke up in the hospital. His body was covered in plaster. He was feeling so much pain, and when he woke up, he remembered everything that happened that night. He immediately panicked and asked where his friends were. Beside him were his parents and the Imam. The Imam told him with sadness that Asif was already dead, and Kabir, he lost his sanity. Now he is in a mental hospital. The teachers already arrived there. They were so mad at Rizvi. They said, "Do you know what you have already unleashed? That thing, if it came out, none of us would have survived. It would have eaten everyone." Rizvi felt so guilty about that, and he realized that he should have never gone there. And he asked the Imam, what was that thing? Who was that? And why is it there? The Imam answered him with fear and sadness. It was a jinn, and its name is Kalas. The Imam starts to reveal the truth behind that locked room and who Kalas is. The story begins around 50 years ago. At that time, the college was very lively and the students were really having fun studying there. One day, a new student arrived there. His name was Pijush. He was a very attentive and smart student, and probably have already guessed it. Yeah, he got that locked room to stay. Well, obviously there was nothing wrong with that room then. But he had a roommate named Salim. Salim was friendly and a funny guy. So Pijush and Salim started to share that room. But every evening around 7 to 8 p.m., Pijush would tell Salim to get out of the room. If Salim asked why, then Pijush used to say, "I have some important things to do that I can't do in front of you." It was really annoying to Salim. Well, it's normal, right? It's not like Pijush owns that room. He can't just ask Salim to get out every evening. Salim was talking about this to his friends, and they told him to spy on Pijush and see what he does during that 1 hour. So one evening Salim decided to see what Pijush does after sending him out. Salim got out of the room as usual and he went to one of his friend's room. But before 8 p.m. he decided to come back and see what Pijush was doing. After he left his friend's room, nobody knew what exactly Salim saw there. But people heard a big scream from that room and everyone immediately gathered there. And what people saw was very tragic and ruthless that nobody would want to see. They saw the room was covered in blood. Some kind of black magic circle was drawn on the ground, but some of its parts were already covered in blood. And the most horrific scene was the people saw Bijush with an axe on his hand that was covered in blood. He was dancing on Salim's corpse. It looked like Bijush used that axe to slice open Salim's chest and dancing on his body. And he was chewing something. Blood were dropping from his mouth through his chin. Many people passed out from seeing that. They immediately closed the door. They knew it's not normal, so they immediately brought the Imam from the nearest mosque. Yeah, the Imam was my father, the future Imam said. After my father went there, he felt the dark aura and its immense pressure. But my father had many strong jinn friends. Okay, a jinn is what most of the people know as devil or demon. There could be a good jinn or a bad jinn. Okay, let's continue the story. So my father took help from his jinn friends, and with the help of Allah and the Holy Quran, he managed to extract the jinn from Bijush's body. But it was no use because Bijush was already dead. To save the people, my father sealed off the jinn inside that room. While sealing it, a sound that everyone heard. I am Kalas. I will come back, and when I do, I will massacre everyone. That's why my father forbade anyone to go there. And the teachers also forbade the students from going there. My father used Arabic scriptures because it weakens the jinn's power. And my father got some information from his jinn friends. Actually, that Bijush guy was a fraud. He was never good at studies. That's why he asked for help from that jinn. To maintain the pact with the jinn, he had to feed it human body parts. In the midnight, he used to go to the nearby graveyard and took dead people's body parts and kept them inside his personal locker box. And every evening, he would perform a ritual to summon it and feed it the human organs or body parts. But last night, Salim saw everything and interrupted the ritual. Because of that, the jinn Kalas got really angry and killed Bijush instantly. Then he took over Bijush's body, and with the axe he killed Salim and ate him. So before my father died, he taught me many things and told me about Kalas so that I can keep him in check. Alright guys, the incident ends here. Nothing happened till today at that college. And I'm keeping the college name secret for the privacy. And if you guys wanna hear more real incidents, then subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon. Or if you wanna share any stories that happened to you or to any of your friends, family members, then you can record it or write it down as an email and send it to the email address in the description box. Until the next story, stay healthy and be careful. Good night guys, if you can sleep, that is. Tada, bye bye.